God is generous and gracious in giving whether we deserve it or not. A lot of people in church as well as outside don't believe this. On one level it's easy to grasp, but the disasters, difficulties and differences of human existence can seem like barriers. It's as if God has set us up to fail. But with faith we see how by experiencing failure we seek his rescue and find it. Without experiencing the opposite of God's love and salvation, we cannot value what he freely offers us. The story of Jacob is from way back in time and culture, but it makes this point. Despite Jacob's tricky character, God, in his generosity, has decided to invest in him. And his way of getting Jacob in the right place was an epic all-night-long wrestling match. We read, the man, personifying God, asked him, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and overcome." Which teaches us that we, of less than perfect character, can turn to God for help and direction. This is what the crowd on the hillside following Jesus were doing, and that immediate need was finding food. We read, Jesus replied to the disciples, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." So they all ate and were satisfied. God provided for them, in their thousands, abundantly and without discrimination. But note that he involves people like us in his provision. To these Jews, a flashback to the time God provided bread in the desert meant he was offering his salvation again. But this time, Jesus is central, teaching us that he is our connection with God's generosity. Jews in their history knew all about God's generosity, as Paul reflects. Theirs is the adoption to sonship, the divine glory, the covenant. And for us who do not have that history, he asserts, how much more will these, the natural branches, be grafted back into our own olive tree? So let's not pass on what God is generously offering, whether we think we deserve it or not.